Hey guys, Neil here at Sbardella Arms. Today I want to talk about 1911 frames, and specifically the frames that I machine in-house for my custom builds. So the way I build my custom 1911s is a little bit different than most companies. Basically, I start out with forgings. This is a slide forging here, and that's a frame forging. And I fully machine the slides and frames here in-house on my equipment. Now the reason that I do that is so that I can control the quality of these parts, the fitment, the tolerances, and especially the surface finishes. So let me get you in a little closer to these parts and we'll talk a little bit about how I machine the frames. So these frame forgings come to me forged to the basic shape of the part. They are heat treated at the forge shop and ready to be finished machined. But as you can see, they're just the basic shape of the part. There's a ton of metal that has to get removed in order to make this a usable part, and it is very heavy. It's much heavier than even a finished pistol. So the first step in prepping the forging is Blanchard grinding, and I have a great local shop that Blanchard grinds, basically preps these blanks for me. This is a Blanchard ground prepped blank. And the Blanchard grinding is not the finished grind to size. It just gives me two nice, flat, parallel surfaces that are close to finished size so that I can use them as datums to go into my fixtures and start adding finished machined features to the part. I don't have every single step in the operation here. It takes 9 machining operations to go from a prepped blank to a finished frame. Here is a frame that I currently have in process. You can see it's not finished. It doesn't have the magazine release. It still needs the cutout here and a bunch of other features, but this is close to being finished, and you can even see that I fitted a Ed Brown bobtail mainspring housing onto this one. This is something I'm working on for a possible upcoming model, so there's your sneak peek for that. And here's a finished frame. So as you can see, a ton of machine work goes into making one of these parts. So one question would be, why do I bother machining frames? Aren't there companies out there that can provide frames or 80% frames that I could build off from? And the answer is yes. There are a bunch of companies that you can buy, say 80% or even fully machined frames from. The problem is that I want to be able to control the quality of these parts, especially the tolerances, the fit up to the slide to frame, but also a lot of the true position and straightness and size of a lot of the ignition component mounting holes in the frame. And another huge thing is surface finish. A lot of these parts that you buy from outside vendors, the surface finishes of, say, all of the round areas on the frame can be very, very rough, and it takes a lot. Some of these builders are spending a lot of time just hand working their parts into, you know, an acceptable surface finish, whereas I can just simply, by machining the parts in-house and deciding what tooling and tool paths to use, I can machine a part that is very, very smooth, very nice finish. This has had no handwork done to any of these rounds other than minor deburring, and we do give them a quick sandblast. But this is straight off the machine. I mean, the surface finishes that I'm able to achieve, I haven't seen them equaled in any other part. If there were better frames out there, I would use somebody else's parts, but simply machining them in-house, I'm able to make better parts than I can purchase for my builds. So another note while we're talking about frames is, so far I have included on all of my frames the 1911 A1 style scallop cuts on either side of the trigger guard. Now, those scallop cuts were not on the original Browning 1911 design. Those cuts were added later when they came out with the 1911 A1. Now, I personally think the original 1911 without these scallop cuts was a much cleaner, more classic looking gun. And these scallop cuts have always been kind of a solution in search of a problem. They really, if you've shot guns with and without them, to the shooter, there really is no difference. And so that being said, moving forward into 2026, I'm going to be omitting these scallop cuts in favor of the more classic Browning original design, which I think is going to be a really cool look. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you like this sort of content, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and maybe drop a comment down below.